and gentlemen, welcome back to the Faruka TV podcast. And for episode 5 today, we've got special guest Zachary Osman.
Thanks for having me, Farouk.
Thank you. We are very thankful for having you here, especially because it's the 5th episode. After 4 episodes, we want someone more interesting and different. So, tell me more about yourself.
Well, I'm quite into photography. Take some photos, whether it's wildlife photography, street photography, etc. And that's about it.
Yeah, like when taking these photos, is it by like request, or do you feel pressure when taking photos? Like when you're taking a photo, you're like, oh, I don't like this, and you keep scrapping it. So, do you have pressure when taking photos?
Well, I mean, usually I just take photos for fun, right? Especially wildlife photography, street photography, that's all just for fun. Although at school, a lot of people do ask me for sports photos, either rugby, football, whatever. And it is tough sometimes when, things like the weather is uncertain and, so sometimes you feel like you're not putting out as great of a quality photos which you could have.
Yeah.
And you do feel that pressure sometimes, and even with my own photography, when I'm editing my photos, I kind of, doubt myself. I think, these are not worthy of being published, and, so it's similar to anything in the creative scene. People do feel that pressure of trying to put out the best they can.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can, definitely relate to that because you should obviously will know, and a lot of people in the school will know that I made 2 short films.
Yep.
The second one not really well known, but Agent 17, obviously, that was a pressure for me because personally, I didn't really like a lot of the footage that was being taken in the film because I was in the film, you see. So in terms of I can't be the recorder and the person who literally acts in it as well, as much as I want to, but I can't. So I had to really deal with that and just make my ways through like different angles and editing, and I'm pretty good at editing, I would say. So I heard that you built a bike, like a cycling bike.
A bike, I did. I built a bike a few months back, actually. So just got this inspiration from online, and I thought, why not try it myself? So it's actually a fixed gear bike, which means there's no gear changes. It's just one gear, and so the pedals move with the gear since it's not a freewheel. And it's good fun to ride. So I go out at night a few times and things like that. There was a lot of challenges when building the bike because it's completely from scratch. You have to source parts and get things fixed, and it is a tough job.
I mean, I don't know anything about parts of a cycling bike or whatever, but I do know that it's kind of fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Building bikes and riding them, especially. I ride a lot of bicycles, guys, as well, mountain biking in school mostly, but at home it's just normal cycling. So I'm curious, how much it costs to make a bike?
How much it costs?
Yeah.
Well, you do require quite a vast amount of components to build a bike. You need a frame, your wheel set, brake set, chain, handlebars, everything's from scratch, right? So the price to build a bike is definitely higher than buying one brand new. And especially since you have to source most of these parts online, and things like this are very niche. Especially for my size, I need a big frame. It was quite hard to get a big frame. I think I'm 60 centimeter. Going back to the price, the price to build, it was probably more than I expected. Frame was about 200 Singapore dollars alone. And on top of that, I had to get a wheel set, which was another $100. Brake set, $20-$30. Handlebars, another $20. So in total, it was around $600 for everything.
That's
So, once I built it, I was considering like, maybe I should have just bought one
true.
brand new, right? But anyways, it is nice to have something which I know that no one else has,
Yeah.
made completely by me, customized and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you should feel really proud of yourself for building a bike, because I don't know anyone else in the school or whoever I met, I haven't met a person that actually built their own bike.
Yeah.
I mean, building PCs, but that's a different thing. That's like gaming and stuff. So going back to your photography, what camera do you use?
Well, I use a Sony A7 III. I basically had the influence to buy a Sony because it's what many people online use, right?
Yeah.
Especially in content creation and street photography as well. It's very popular. So I was just influenced by them really. What I also liked about Sony was the accessibility to a large amount of lenses at different price ranges. Because I know there's some the new Canon mirrorless cameras, the lenses are really expensive, and there's not much variety as well, right? So you need that variety to have your telephoto, your prime lenses, your zoom lenses, things to match different purposes. And if I went for a camera which, these lenses weren't accessible to me, I wouldn't have the more variety in what I do,
Sure, I mean, I love Sony. I use Sony for my vlogs, mostly vlogs, and sometimes for MotoGP I use Sony because it's quite easy to use. Well, the one I have is a vlogging camera, and I don't know what kind it is because I don't really know anything about cameras, because it was my first one that I got for my birthday present last year. And it was probably one of the best birthday presents I ever had, because I like to content create, make, like I said, short films, podcasts. But I'm currently using a phone, but I'll definitely upgrade to that in the future. But there's so many other cameras out there.
Of course.
And why Sony? Why not like Canon, for example?
Well, like I mentioned, it was the availability of the lenses really which brought down my choice to Sony. And like I said, a lot of people online use Sony as well, so I just thought, it's probably a safe option, and I just went for it. I mean, at the time it was fairly new as well, so it was quite expensive, a bit more than what I was hoping to pay for, especially with my collection of lenses as well. Before the Sony, I was actually using a micro four thirds camera, which is a lot smaller than a full frame, and it got handed down to me, and that's what brought me into photography in the first place. And after a while I just thought I needed an upgrade from this if I wanted to improve my skills, so that's why I went for the Sony.
That's very interesting, because Sony is a really big camera brand, would you say?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen it everywhere, movies especially. I'm just into these movies and stuff, but it's a really interesting comment for me, because I've been struggling with trying to find cameras, and I concluded with Sony at the end, with the opinion of a director that my mom closely worked with at that time, and he came up with he gave me an idea of what camera I should get, so that's what I did. Anyways, let's talk about the future current events in terms of filmmaking in the future. Aaron, in our school, Aaron here, in your year, is making a short film with me and Waylon as the main characters, called The Games They Played.
The Games They Played.
So, and you're taking part as the videographer.
I'm one of the videographers for the film.
But do you think, is videographing very different to photography?
I mean, the fundamentals are the same when it comes down to things like exposure and your composition, but it is a lot more complex. There's a lot more variables which you have to think about at the same time, right? And a photo is one frame, while a video is 30 frames a second, right? So it's taking photos but longer.
Longer.
So there are many more things to think about.
Yeah.
It's a lot more complex. But with the fundamentals from my photography knowledge, it does translate really well into videographing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Once again, because becoming a photographer doesn't necessarily mean that you can become a videographer.
Of course, yeah.
And these two, it has its similarities, but also has its differences.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand because a photo is a photo, video is a longer photo in that sense. But but do you enjoy being part of this?
I do,
film?
yeah. Taking part in the short film with you and Aaron, it's been a huge insight into what goes on behind filmmaking and things like that. Because before I had almost no knowledge at all about filming, and yeah, it's just been a very big learning experience for me.
Yeah, same for me because that's the first time I've ever been on a like Aaron, because he has all this equipment,
Mm-hmm.
filming equipment, which is very impressive, by the way. It must have been really expensive to buy. He has the boom mic, everything. I don't even have that yet, but I can't wait for this film, definitely. But going on to that, acting for the first parts of the movie, because by the way, guys, it's a long production, which will take time and probably only come out next year. So when being in it with my best friend, obviously Waylon, it's kind of hard because when you're acting with your best friend, you tend to laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the hard bit of acting, in my opinion. But if it was something like Agent 17, I was very comfortable with, because it was people that, I was comfortable with. Just like Waylon, but Waylon is more of like a funny best friend.
Yeah.
When the other guys are like, you're the director and you're the actor, so whatever goes on is you, right? So I really enjoyed the games they played, the script. I'm not trying to spoil anything, by the way, but the script is nice, the script is very thorough.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron made a really good script for that, and he's still working on it, I think, is he?
He is still working on it.
Yeah,
I mean, we finished the first scene of filming, although the rest of the script writing should be complete soon.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I am.
Next week, when it's up Thursday, we'll be filming the big scenes. So make sure you guys actually see it, not in theaters, but on the social media platforms that Aaron will provide to you guys. Dim Dummy Production, something like that.
Yeah.
I will put it on that, definitely. But being in a filmmaking film, like a really good film, a really good production. I wouldn't say like really good, but it's a good enough production in the school.
Yeah.
I really, the cameras and stuff, it's not a big shock to me, but it's the best learning experience, I think. Experiencing, because I don't know what's that thing that Aaron has like around his camera. It's like,
he's got a cage.
oh, a cage, okay.
Yeah, so it's just a bit more grip to hold on to the camera.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't understand how he does all of this with the amount of stuff he has. He definitely needs like a lot of people to do it. I mean, I know he has Jameson for the boom mic, which is quite funny. And
especially all the editing which Aaron has been doing recently.
Yeah, all the editing and trying to build his own production as well.
Yeah.
I respect the effort in it, because for me, let me just go back to the Agent 17.
Yeah.
But for me, when I was first starting the Agent 17, and you've probably been interested in this, I had it planned in 2021 at the end of the year, around that, and I just came up with the idea that I want to make a short film. I said to myself, and then I tried making a short film, and just like you with your photos, I was like, I didn't like it. I didn't like the first draft. I scrapped it and I put it in the bin. And then 1 year later, this year, I was like, we're going to an island in Apollo. We had a trip to Rawa. So that's when the teacher, Mr. EJ, said to me, you should make your short film over in the island. I was like, maybe. And then on the night before we went to Rawa, I thought about it late night, by the way. It was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what, I want to make this short film.
Yeah.
That's probably the best decision I've made so far this year. But that night at the same time, I was writing the script on notes and everything, just trying to get it scrambled up, storytelling. And to be really honest, the storytelling wasn't that good, right? In Agent 17.
I mean, Agent 17, it was a good first introduction into your cinematography and things like that. I wouldn't say the script writing matters really. It's more about that experience you gained from filming Agent 17.
Yeah, I agree, because like when I was doing the script writing, I didn't know a lot because it's the first film. I don't expect a lot. But at the end, when I presented it in the Borders Assembly, I don't know if you remember, it was like
I still remember.
it's the trailer and stuff. And to be really honest, that was probably one of the best moments this year. You know, presenting it to the Borders Assembly, and then at the end of the year, presenting my whole vlog in the Senior School Assembly was quite terrifying. But you know, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Where was the inspiration for Agent 17 in the first place?
Well, that's a really good question. I came up with Agent 17 more than 5 years ago.
Really?
More than 5 years ago. No one knows this, but more than 5 years ago. And my brother probably won't even believe me.
Yeah.
But I actually started making mini films. So like using my iPad in my old house, I used to record shooting films, you know, and stuff by myself. So it was like placing the camera on there, recording it. But I came up with Agent 17 back then, because back then I was recording shooting stuff and I was like, agent. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Agent, operator. And for me it was like agent stood out more than all of those. Hitman, but I didn't really like that. But I got agent, and then that's in 2021 where I was like, agent what? Agent 40, agent 50. And it was like 17, because that's the day of my birthday. That's why Agent 17. But the whole storyline, like I said, it was made up on Thursday night before we went on the trip. So anyways, thank you for being on this podcast.
No worries.
A lot to talk about, because I like this topic: photography, cinematography, and obviously a little teaser of the games they played, which will come out hopefully next year. I really hope it's next year.
Thanks a lot, Farouk. It's been an honor to be on the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for making this episode 5 a special one.
No worries.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching me and Zach discussing about this, because I really enjoyed this podcast today. So thank you, Zach.
Thanks.
And I'll see you around.
See you around.
In school. Bye.